Alrighty, what's going on, competitors? Happy Sunday. I hope you guys have been having a great weekend. We have been super busy here with Compete. As I'm sure a lot of you guys have noticed, we've had quite a number of new competitors joining our community this weekend. So for the live stream today, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of an overview of what Compete is, what we're trying to build here, why we think we're building such an awesome game. And that's going to be a good kind of primer for you, or an introduction if you are newer to the project. So if you've been around for a while, just bear with me, or maybe come back tomorrow and we'll have a little bit more of a development update. But for today, I just want to make sure everyone's on the same page and kind of seeing the general big picture here of what we are trying to build. So I'm going to get started with that in just a second. And then of course we will close things out with the daily horse race. Don't worry, if you're new, I'll explain what that is as well. But we're going to have a pretty good stream here. Really looking forward to kind of telling you guys big picture what Compete is all about. So again, we're going to give people just a second or two to trickle on in, and then we're going to get started with this. One thing that I wanted to point out while we were waiting is, you know what I noticed here is that we're up over 7% on our holders for the day. That's in 24 hours. That's pretty amazing. That is, I think, the biggest growth we've had in a single day, maybe ever. And so it's really exciting. This is a cool opportunity for us to get Compete out there, into the universe, to let people know about what we're building, and to see so many people are picking up on what we're doing here and are interested in joining along for the ride here is it's really awesome to see. The whole team works super hard on this game and have been for over 2 years now. So to see days like today where a whole bunch of new competitors, or new community members, I should say, come to join us, it is definitely makes all the hard work worth it. So let's get into what Compete is all about. I want to give you guys just a general overview of what we're trying to do here. We're going to take a quick look at the white paper. We're going to get right down to the roots of what we're building here, let you know why we think what we're doing is important, and then we will move on from there. So as you can see, we are on the Compete official website. This is compete.game. This is our homepage. This is where you want to come to find all of the latest Compete news. Now, if you're watching this stream, I'm assuming you've probably already looked at this website before, so we're not going to spend a whole lot of time here, but I did just kind of want to scroll through so that if you haven't seen the website, you know what you're missing and what you should go check out here after the stream is over. So we've got our website here. Just a note, this website is under heavy renovation right now, like heavy renovation. So a lot of the images on the website are not up to date. Our game actually looks significantly better than images like this show or like this show. We've upgraded our character model and we've upgraded our environment both in the last couple of months. So we've got a little bit of work to do that we're putting in on the website. Those should be done in the next week or two. But one thing that I wanted to point out right off the bat, and don't get distracted because we're going to talk about the game here, but after the stream is over, if you come on in here and you look for this post, this is just a whole bunch of really good gameplay. I'm not going to spend the time on stream to show you guys this right now because a lot of you guys have seen it if you're familiar with the project, and it's just better off watched on your own time when you can kind of pause it, rewind it, and all that stuff. But I did want to point that out, so make sure that you check that out as well after the stream. So what are we building here at Compete? Well, as you can see, Compete is an all-in-one sports game. Now, we are about 2 years and a month or so into development. So we're about 25 months into development now. And Compete Token came out, I think, about 7 months ago. So what this means is that Compete has been in development for quite a while. Initially, it was funded by Justin, who is our founder and CEO. He put in a ton of money, over $1 million US, into the development of this game. To build Modernized Games, which is our game studio. So we're a team of about 23 to 25 guys. We're spread out all over the world. And we've been working super hard on this game for a couple of years now. And really what we're trying to do is build something revolutionary. Now, I know that sounds like I'm blowing smoke. I'm sure you've heard that a million times in the crypto space. But what I want you guys to realize if you're new right off the bat is that this is not a typical crypto project, okay? I would say that a lot of crypto projects out there, a lot of Web3 projects, blockchain projects, whatever the buzzword of the day is, a lot of those projects are a token or an NFT, and they build some sort of game or something that they call a game in order to justify the value of that token or that NFT. Well, right off the bat, you should know that that is not how Compete operates. We built Compete to be a game first and foremost. And what blockchain allows us to do with our Compete token is make our game economy decentralized, or at least give players the opportunity to experience a totally decentralized game economy. So that is kind of the basis of what we're looking at here. Again, we are not a crypto project disguised as a game or anything like that. We are first and foremost building a game here. So realize that going in. Now, when you see all-in-one sports game, you're probably thinking to yourself, hey, what does that mean? I see a basketball, I see a sniper rifle, I see a golf club, I got a racing helmet. What's going on here? Well, this goes into a couple of the problems that we are trying to solve here with Compete. So I'm going to shift gears and come on over to the white paper. And this is where we're going to look at kind of the foundation of what Compete is built on, this all-in-one sports game. We're going to kind of break down what that means and why this is so important and why we think that it's something that the market or the gaming community really needs. So to kind of rewind here and pull it all back, you're probably wondering where this all started. Well, Justin, he's our CEO and our founder. He was running a very successful marketing company and was also a semi-pro gamer on the side, okay? And so he specialized or loved to play sports games. He'd been playing NBA 2K specifically or particularly for over 20 years and had spent a couple of those years playing professionally. He also played professionally for games like Fortnite. I'm sure I'm missing a couple of others. But the point is, the guy knows video games, and more so than he really knew them as a job, he knew them as a passion, right? He is maybe like some of you guys. He loves gaming and wants to see opportunities for the gaming community exist that he wants himself, because he is first and foremost a gamer. So in September of 2020, NBA 2K20 came out. And Justin downloaded it, he played it, and he was really disappointed. And he was disappointed for a few major reasons. And these are what he saw as just plaguing problems of the gaming industry. And so we have a couple of them listed right here. And I want to take a look at them, kind of explain where the industry is at right now, and let you know how Compete is going to be different or is aiming to solve that problem. So right now, there are no free-to-play options for sports games. And that might sound crazy, but if you think about it, it's actually true. And you can go do your research. All of the high quality, good gameplay sports games, whether that's football, basketball, golf, tennis, even kart racing, all of these games are currently pay models, right? So you have to pay to access the game. And if you're looking for the free-to-play games, they are really low quality. They're not fun. They're not something that you're going to go back and play time and time again. So right now, in the world of gaming, there are really no free-to-play options for sports. So Justin, right off the bat, realized, hey, this is something that we can do better. We want to build a game and Compete that will always be totally free-to-play, that you will be able to access without having to pay anything. Next, there's a bunch of high barriers to entry in sports gaming right now, and really gaming in general. So if you look at it, how we spelled it out here, this is really the best way to explain what we mean. So right now, if you want to play a high quality sports game with your friend, you're going to need to buy that game. We'll use NBA 2K as an example. It's $70. Then you need to convince your friend or anyone who you want to play with to buy that game. Okay, so that's $70. Then you're probably going to need to spend some money to actually be competitive online. So in NBA 2K, you can spend hundreds of hours developing your character, or you can take the shortcut and you can make a couple of purchases. Most people choose to make those purchases to be competitive online, but again, that's going to cost extra money. That's another barrier to entry here. So now you can play with your friends online, but only for this year, because next year the same game is going to come out and it's going to cost $70 yet again. So you're going to have to rebuy the game, rebuy the upgrades, rinse, repeat. And the problem here is that not only do you have to do it, but if you want to play with your friends, they have to do it as well. And I know a lot of you guys, if you're gamers, you realize the value in being able to play with your friends. For people like Justin, that's, I would guess, probably at least 75% of the reason he's playing is to keep up with his friends, to have fun, and just have somewhere to hang out with people that you maybe aren't close to location-wise in real life. So this is obviously a really big problem, and this is something that we can fix. So what we decided to do is Justin decided to make Compete, or really kind of commit to making Compete something that doesn't come out every year, right? So we're going to continue to grow the game. We're going to add additional game modes as we can and as people are interested in seeing those added. But it's never going to be a thing where, Compete 2 comes out and you got to re-download and start all over or anything like that. So we've solved this as well. Now, a third problem that we've seen is that there's really not very good character customization in games. So NBA 2K actually has a really amazing character customizer. It's definitely an inspiration of ours here at Compete, but they're really kind of on their own. Most games, as I'm sure you've noticed, especially games in this Web3 space, they really don't have a lot of options to customize your character. You got maybe like 3 different heads, 4 different torsos, and a couple different pairs of legs. It's just not a whole lot of fun. There's not really a way to connect with your character, to really be who you want to be in the game. And if you're going to dedicate a decent amount of your time into this game, which is what we hope you will do with Compete, then we realize that you really need to give players the opportunity to create who they want to be in game and to connect with that character in game. So we've also really dedicated a lot of time and energy into creating a really awesome, high quality character that is morphable in height, weight, muscle mass, facial features, hair, facial hair, all that kind of stuff. So that is another thing that we are doing to stand apart. The fourth thing that we're doing, and this is really a massive problem in the gaming industry, is that there are pretty much no cross-play or cross-platform games. So what this means is this: if you're on a mobile device and I'm on an Xbox and our friend is on a PC, for almost all games, we're not going to be able to play together. Okay, there's no cross-play, there's no cross-platform. Let's say I own the new Xbox and you own the old Xbox. On games like NBA 2K, you can't even play with each other from one Xbox to the other. And to be honest with you, this is something that doesn't need to happen. Okay, the tech for crossplay is there. It is difficult to implement, but we already have it implemented at Compete, where we have PC players playing with iOS players, that's the iPhone, with Android players, which would be the Google phones. So we've already got cross-platform up and running, or cross-play up and running, and we will be adding Xbox and PlayStation 5 to that list as well. So Compete is going to be one of the very first sports games. I believe MLB The Show this year came out with a cross-play game, but otherwise Compete would be the first, or will be, I should say, the first sports game to offer cross-play and cross-platform. So that's a huge deal. Obviously, if you can't understand the size and scope of that, then I would guess that you probably have never played video games, because this really is one of the age-old problems. What console do you have? What console do your buddies have? Are you guys going to argue about which one's best? Is someone finally going to fold and buy the other console? Or are you guys just never going to play online together? And unfortunately, for a lot of players, the only option, realistically, is to just never play online together. And Justin felt that it was time to change the industry when it came to that. And so we are committed to providing cross-play and cross-platform for Compete. Now, the last thing, and this was also very important to Justin, was that in most all games, there is no ownership or play to earn potential. So in a lot of games, what you do, we'll use NBA 2K again as the example to stay consistent, is you sign on and you buy cosmetics. And if you have those cosmetics and you want to give one to a friend, you can't actually do that. If you want to sell one to someone that wants to buy it, you can't do that. And the biggest problem of all is that when the game inevitably gets shut down, when those servers get shut off because next year's game came out, all of that stuff turns to digital dust. Now, Justin, I'm sure he won't mind me admitting, is a little bit of a collector, okay? He really loves to collect the in-game skins, especially for games he likes to play. And he's not alone, okay? This is a billion-dollar industry. Just take a look at Fortnite's revenue numbers from the last 4 years. Over $1 billion in revenue generated from cosmetics in each of those last 4 years. This is a massive industry, and right now it is set up in about the most exploitative way possible for players. So you don't actually own your stuff, you can't really trade it or sell it, and it disappears at the flip of a switch, which you do not control. Which is, obviously, I think goes without saying, pretty lame, okay? So Justin is committed to providing ownership and play to earn potential for Compete. Now, the ownership obviously exists through our decentralized blockchain game economy. That would be the Ethereum game economy. And it exists in the fact that all of our cosmetics for Compete's Web3 players are NFTs. Okay, now the play to earn is not a traditional play to earn. So a lot of play to earn projects in the Web3 space will use their token as the reward. And usually it works something like this, where the more you play or the better you are or the more powerful character you've earned or you've bought, the more you earn. And it's kind of an inflationary thing, right? So the tokens continue to get pumped and created, and it just is not a sustainable thing. And I'm sure you've realized that if you've looked into play to earn models. It really is just a plaguing issue with the play to earn experience, is that these tokens become inflationary, they don't really hold any intrinsic value, and they get dumped, and the entire system falls apart. So a couple of notes on our play to earn for Compete. Number one, Compete was not built to be a play to earn game. We are happy to introduce our own version of play to earn into it, and we're really excited because it's a cool opportunity and it allows players to get a little something for all the time that they're putting in, and we love that. That is really an awesome opportunity. But Compete wasn't built just to be a play to earn game. It was built and always will be built first and foremost to be a really fun game that we're going to try to scale as large as we can. We want as many players as we can playing Compete, and the primary draw is never going to be, hey, this is a play to earn game. Okay, so you're probably wondering, well, what is your play to earn model? Well, what we have set up we think is a lot better. So it doesn't have anything to do with Compete token directly. Okay, so as you play Compete, you've got a couple of options as far as how to get the game cosmetics. That would be the clothing that you wear, the basketball that you're using in game, the skins on your gun, any and all of that stuff will be collectible cosmetics issued to Web3 players as NFTs. And there's a couple of ways that those get into circulation. They are all scarcity based, okay? And that's something that's really important to understand because it's going to relate to the value of the game economy, which I'll mention here in just a second. So with the play to earn model, what we have is this. We have three primary ways that game assets or cosmetics will enter into the game economy, right? So on one side, we've got the game economy, and on the other side, we have Compete token, right? Or the assets and Compete token, one on each side. So they enter in three different ways. Number one, you can buy them from our game shop. So every single day, we will have one item that is featured for the day. And what that means is that for a 24-hour period of time, this cosmetic will be available for purchase for anyone that wants to buy it, and then it'll never be available again. So if you want to monitor the game shops, you have the opportunity to get some pretty scarce, pretty rare stuff, because again, all of our stuff is available once and then not again. The second way that game assets are entered into the game is through the the ticket, which is similar to a battle pass. So if you've ever played Fortnite as an example, you'll know that each season you can buy the battle pass in Fortnite. It's, I don't know, about $10 or something USD, something like that. And you're able to kind of earn experience playing Fortnite and unlocking a bunch of cosmetics along the way. So Compete has a ticket that we are designing, which will operate very similar. It's going to be the same kind of thing, you know, 5 or 10 US dollars worth of probably Ethereum in order to access it. And then you'll be able to unlock and receive all of the assets for free. So as you work through the ticket, you'll unlock assets along the way, and you'll be able to claim those as NFTs for free. Obviously, the further into the ticket you get, the less people will make it there, and the more exclusive your asset will be. And of course, the further into the ticket you go, the cooler the assets will be, and just generally the more in demand we expect they will be. So we have scarcity set up that way. Now, the third way that game assets enter into the Compete game economy is through the fame reward system. Now, this is the closest thing that Compete has to a play to earn, and it's for this reason. As you know, I mentioned this just earlier, Compete is a free-to-play game. It will always be free to play. Now, the cosmetics offer no in-game advantage, so you cannot buy your way into better skill at Compete. Okay, you can't buy an advantage in-game. All the cosmetics are are just that. They're cosmetic only. But what you can do is you can play for free. You have an equal shot to everyone else. You can play on any device you want. So you can play on a mobile phone, or you can play on a computer or an Xbox or a PlayStation. And as you accumulate game experience playing Compete, you will unlock fame rewards. Now, those will be set up a little bit differently than the ticket. It'll probably be over a 2 or 3 month period. There'll be probably a few extra rewards in there, something like 30 rewards or something like that. We haven't ironed out all the specific details yet, but what you need to know is this. As you work through the fame rewards, which is again that free reward system, it's going to get harder and harder to unlock those free assets. But those assets are going to get more and more exclusive, just by nature of them being harder to get. So if you really want to work hard and you want to play a bunch of Compete and you want to get really good at it, you are able to unlock some really exclusive, rare rewards towards the end of that fame reward system. So you could imagine if you become the best Compete player out there, you accumulate the most game experience, you're going to unlock that end level fame reward, which maybe there's 10 of them in circulation, maybe there's 25. The point is there's not going to be many at all. And those are going to be the rewards that we spend the most time on, that have the most detail going into them, and just generally are the most badass rewards in the entire game. And we're setting it up that way specifically because we want to make sure that those end level fame rewards are valuable. We want to make sure that the people who are coming back and who are putting in the time to play Compete and get really good at it are rewarded with these awesome opportunities to get free cosmetics. Now, on the flip side of that, because now we've went over what the game economy is and how the assets get into circulation, you're probably wondering, like, what do I do with this Compete token? Well, Compete token is really the oil that makes the entire game economy move for Web3 players. So if you want to trade your game assets on our in-game marketplace, okay, if you want to buy or sell with other players and trade them on our optimized marketplace that's really easy to use, it only has verified Compete assets on it, it's sortable, and is just generally the best experience that you could have trading Compete assets, then you're going to need to use Compete token in order to do it. So if you want to buy something on the secondary marketplace, you're going to need Compete token in order to buy it. If you want to sell something on the secondary marketplace, you're going to receive Compete token from your buyer. And so that is basically making Compete token the backbone of the Compete game economy. And the value of Compete token should roughly shadow or should represent the total value of the Compete game economy, since that's the only real way that you can buy and sell them. So what does this mean for Compete token? Well, Compete token is, that's the utility, right? Is that it is the in-game marketplace currency. And really what you need to consider is that on any given day when a player comes to Compete, their opportunities to purchase game assets are going to be largely focused to that secondary marketplace. So you could picture yourself, you're a new player, you download Compete, you sign on to Compete day one. Your opportunities to purchase a new asset and to get into different clothes or different whatever you want to buy, right? Gliders, basketballs, weapon wraps, golf clubs, helmets, whatever you like, right? Most all of your options are going to be from the secondary marketplace. You'll have one asset of the day, that 24-hour rotating asset that I mentioned. You'll have the opportunity to buy the ticket and maybe unlock one or two assets. And you'll have the opportunity to maybe unlock a couple of fame assets once you've played a little bit and you've earned some game experience. But for the most part, your options are going to be on the secondary marketplace using Compete token. So as we scale up in users, our utility for Compete token is going to continue to grow, right? And as our game expands, the percentage of possibilities available for purchase are going to grow as well on the secondary marketplace. So that just gives you an idea of how our game economy is built a little bit. I think it's really important to understand how that works and where these game assets come from, how you get them, what the Compete token does. I want to make sure that everyone has a full vision of how this game economy works. So we've really thought a lot about this. We've tried to avoid a lot of the major pitfalls that we see other projects run into when they build a game economy on blockchain and just a game economy generally. Now, this is a good opportunity for me to just briefly let you guys know that Compete is not only limited to a blockchain game. Okay, we're not just a Web3 game. Compete is also the first game that will run a dual economy. So what does that mean? Well, we obviously have the Web3 game economy that I just explained. And then on the flip side, we also will be running a Web2, which is just a traditional fiat game economy. This will allow us to be on platforms like PlayStation and Xbox while still letting people use their NFTs in a game, and they can play with anyone on any platform. So we're really trying to give players the option to go whichever route they choose. We know that one game is not going to push the entire industry one way or the other as far as Web3 or Web2. We see the value in Web2, obviously, going back to those problems solved. One of Justin's biggest issues with the gaming community or with the gaming world right now is the lack of ownership. So we're super excited to have this Web3 game economy. It's super, super exciting. And we are also excited to be hopefully part of helping to bring Web2 players over to Web3. So if you're on the Web2 build of Compete, if you're playing as a Web2 player, at any time you'll be able to jump over as a Web3 player. There'll be additional exclusive assets available on Web3 that are not available on Web2, as well as obviously additional ways to pay, right? So you can pay using cryptocurrency. You can obviously sell your assets for Compete token. And we're really excited to see how this all shakes out. We are super happy to be the first game that offers everyone, regardless of what they prefer, the chance to play together and really just have fun. So just to kind of recap, again, big picture here, Compete is the first free-to-play, all-in-one sports game that's going to allow you, that's right, you, to play with your friends, regardless of what platform you're on, whether you're on PC, whether you're on mobile, whether you're on Xbox or PlayStation, and whether your friends are either. So you guys can all play together, and it also doesn't matter if you're a Web2 or a Web3 player. So if you're into Web3, which I would guess you are if you are here, and you have friends that are not into Web3, well, have no fear, because you guys can play Compete all together just the same, and that's really what we're here to do and what we're here to provide. So with that in mind, you guys officially have a overview of what Compete is. Now, I guess I should tell you what games we have coming out. And the games that we're going to be focusing on initially are our Battle Royale, our basketball, and our kart racing. Okay, so to give you just an overview of where we're at, our Battle Royale is pretty polished right now. It's about 95% done. We just finished the map, pretty much finished the map, I should say. There's still some work to do, but we just made a pretty big push onto our map, so our environment is dialed in, our game mechanics are dialed in. It's feeling really good. I, again, want to encourage you guys to go watch those gameplay clips that I posted in Telegram, because that's going to explain where we're at way better than I could. But we're online, we're running matchmaking, and this is a good opportunity for me to actually transition and answer our Compete AMA question from the day. So I'm going to open this up. We're going to go to Compete AMA, and I think it was Den Dirk. Okay, cool. So Den Dirk was asking, where's it at? Oh, here we go. When play test? Well, that's a good question. So you might be wondering, well, what's the play test? What are we talking about here? Well, as you know, Compete, or maybe you don't know if you're new, Compete is out in a closed beta state right now. So if you have at least one Compete token and you have a Windows PC, you're able to create a Compete account. So you'll come up here to sign in, you'll go create new account, you'll link your MetaMask, you'll create a login and a password, and then you can come up here to the closed beta. And if you do have a Compete token in that wallet that you linked, you'll have access to the download link. Now, right now in the closed beta, we are kind of in a holding pattern. So we've been running playtests pretty consistently over the last couple of months, but for the last 3 weeks, we have put them on pause. We've made a really big push in our development. We migrated from Unreal Engine 4 to Unreal Engine 5. We made a huge update to our kart racing. We updated our map significantly. And right now we're in the process of updating our updater. Is weird as that sounds. So Den Dirk is wondering when playtest. Well, the next playtest that we're going to hold is going to be on a significantly updated version of Compete from anything that you guys have seen so far. So that's super exciting. At this point, it's been a few weeks, and we have a lot of updates to push to you. There is only one thing that we are still working on before we can do that, and that is to find a better solution for an updater. So for those of you who don't know, Compete is a live service game. So we push updates really often. So if you guys like to see games evolve really fast and have new features added, you're in the right place, because that's what we like to do here. We are moving really quickly on this development, but we need a really reliable updater to make sure that we can get you guys the latest updates really smoothly, really efficiently, and really consistently. Now, there are a couple of options for the updater, just to give you guys the nerdy kind of behind the scenes peek at what we're thinking here. So in the past, we built our own updater. This was a pretty good solution for us. It worked pretty well, but for those of you that used it, you know it was a little bit slow. It wasn't always super consistent, and it wasn't something that we were comfortable moving into the future with. So we knew we had to upgrade it. With the Unreal Engine 5 migration from Unreal Engine 4, it made the issue even more pressing, because the updater is not working nicely with Unreal Engine 5. Now, as far as our options moving forward, there is a couple of them. Number one, we can use a pre-packaged launcher. So there's a bunch of them out there. I'm not going to go into the list of them right now, but Xsolla makes one. Elixir is the name of another one. There's a few others. These are all good options for us, but the downside is that kind of like an app store or on any of the platforms, you need to push the update through them, and they have to look at it. They have to see, is this what they're saying it is? All the security kind of stuff, which of course is a good thing, but we don't really want to be waiting days or whatever their timeline is to be pushing updates to you when we're still in a testing phase, and those updates are going to be coming more often than usual. So our last option is really to rebuild our game launcher, and that's what we're in the process of doing right now. So when playtest is, the real answer here, Den Dirk, is that it's as soon as our updater is done and we are able to get that set up for you guys so that you're able to get the latest build of Compete. Now, when that happens, I don't want to go on the record and make any guesses, just because if I guess wrong and it takes longer than that, I don't want anyone to be disappointed. So I'll be real transparent with you guys and say I'm not exactly sure how long it's going to take. I would guess we will see some really significant movement on it in the right direction here this week. It's definitely our goal. It's our goal to get the playtest back online this week. I know I was talking to Justin about it a little bit earlier today. We are officially itching, and especially with all these new competitors, it's time. We've got a lot of really cool updates in this next update for you guys. And so we want to get it in your hands. So it definitely is one of the biggest priorities that we have. So I know that doesn't totally answer your question, Den Dirk, but hopefully it gives you a little bit of insight as to what the holdup is, if you want to look at it that way. All these things are good things, I promise. They really are what's allowing us to take this the next step further. To really scale to the size that we want this game to be, we need to have a really good updater solution, and so that's what we're going to build. So next question, I believe, was from Blue Dream 94, and he says, or they say, I should say, what's one thing you want everyone that just joined to know about Compete? This is a big project and it took a while. Okay, I feel that. So good question. What's one thing I want everyone to know? To be honest with you, Blue Dream, it's what I just told everyone right now. Over the last, 33 minutes. Man, if you guys are still listening to this, I am impressed, and I'm very grateful that you're here, and I hope it's been valuable for you. But that's what I would say. Honestly, I don't have a whole lot more to add than that. Just know this is a long-term project for us. As I mentioned at the beginning, we are well over 2 years in. Justin's well over $1 million of his own money into development here. We are swinging for the fences, to use a baseball analogy. We are not going to be happy until we scale this game to the size that we want it to. And to know the answer to how big we want to scale this, you really just have to look at the types of problems we're trying to solve. So we want to be the first cross-play, cross-platform sports game. We want to be the biggest decentralized game economy that provides actual ownership to players. We want to knock down all the barriers to entry that currently exist in the sports gaming world, of which there are a lot of them. So that's how big we want to become. We want to take a swing at EA Sports and Take-Two Interactive. We generally are here to make a statement, and we're well on our way to doing that. We're super confident in the team that we have. Our whole team has been together now for over 2 years. We have been grinding this game, and I kid you not, we are very, very build-centric here at this project. We don't do a whole lot of marketing right now based on the macro market and just the fact that our game is still 4, 5, 6 months from being released. So we are super, super dedicated to building the best game that we can. We've been thinking really hard about this for a long time now. And kind of just to circle this all back and close it out, knowing all of this and knowing where we came from and the thousands and thousands of hours that we've worked on this, to see days like today where we get, a 7% gain in the number of holders that we have. And really when we see holders, we see like votes of confidence. Okay, that really means the world to us. It keeps us so motivated. We're super excited to be here. We're excited that you guys are here if you're new. If you're not new, well, welcome back, of course. We've always been grateful to have you here if you've been here before. But yeah, that's basically what I wanted to say to you guys, kind of a general pitch to all the new competitors to let you know what we're about here and what we're trying to do.